Hello, welcome to my channel. I promised this painting a few days ago, but then I found out that I had other commitments and I couldn't get around to doing it. I had done a hydrangea painting in watercolor and pen, and I wanted to show you one painted in acrylics, and I will also show you one painted in water mixable oils. But this one is in acrylics, and I like the way it turned out. I think the hydrangeas look very big and fluffy, maybe a little bit too big, the size of the silver vase. And I don't think that's too bad, though. They are a big, overpowering flower in any case. I used my previous drawing of a vase, and I had done that in glass, and this one I decided to show you a quick version of silver. The very best thing to do is to paint your background first and then transfer your drawing onto the dried background. But of course I didn't do that, did I? So I'm painting around the edges, and it doesn't really matter if you do that. It all works into the painting. The flowers will overlap the background, the leaves will too. The vase needs to be a little sharper around the edges, but we can figure that out. I like my background for flowers to be very natural, organic sort of looking. So I always start off with blue in the left-hand corner and yellow in the right-hand corner, and the two mix somewhere in the middle. And you see this better when I have a blank canvas, and you don't see it so much today. But after I've got the blue and the yellow on and the green mixture going, I take titanium white and I blend that all over to give me a sort of misty look. Sometimes I use a brush to pull leaves into this background. Today I didn't, and it just depends how I'm feeling on the day, whether I want a very textured background or a blended background. And today you can see I want a blended background. I've decided on a wooden tabletop, and I don't put much effort into it, to be honest. I use raw sienna as the basis, and I generally add alizarin crimson and raw umber in to give a little texture and interest. I've painted it straight across. If this were a glass vase, you would be able to see the tabletop through the glass, and that makes it more glassy. Today I'm doing a very quick version of silver, and for silver you need several shades of grey and a very dark, not quite black colour, as I'm putting on here. And it's that difference in shade from the very dark to the lightest, whitest, that gives you that impression of shiny silver. I don't think I pull it off 100% with this particular painting, but I think I got a pretty good impression, and I'm happy with the painting as a whole. When I'm painting hydrangeas in acrylic and also in water mixable oils, I put on a basic colour for the background, and it's probably the darkest colour that I will put on, and it sort of comes through the petals so that you get a depth in the flower, because a hydrangea is made up of hundreds of little florets, isn't it? And you see shadow between each of the florets. So I start off with my darkest colour for the base. I decide which direction the light will be coming from. In this case it's from the left. It's usually from the right in my paintings, but today I decided I'd be a little bit different and I'd do it from the left. And so the left of the flowers and the vase will be the lightest sides. And when I put my petal shapes on, they will be pale on that side and darker on the opposite side. And the same with the leaves too. When painting leaves, I generally tell people to pull from the outside edge into the center vein, but today I'm doing a little bit differently. I'm allowing my brush to give me the shape of the leaves. It's a wide, 3/4 inch wide flat, I think, or it might be a 1/2 inch. I've forgotten what I used for this part. I think it looks like a 1/2 inch. And I use the flat to draw down the leaf instead of drawing it in from the outer side into the edge. It's just another way of painting leaves. You can do that. Yeah, it's a 1/2 inch. For the petal shapes, I use a filbert brush, which is a flat with a rounded top, and that gives me a nice petal shape. Sometimes I use a pointy round if I want a little tip to the petals. I usually do that for the very last few petals, just to give them a little more interest. But for the majority of the petals, I use a filbert brush. I should say too that before I begin to paint, I dip my brush into water, which adds just a little more liquid to the paint and gives it a softness, which I like. I don't know if everyone does it that way, so you have to experiment, but I like that very liquidy paint. You can buy soft-bodied paints, and they are nice to paint with. It's something that you have to get used to, and it's all about personal preference, really. I like to use tube paints, and I like to use the water just to loosen them up a little bit. And that gives me a nice petal shape. I think I have a few more leaves than I usually put in, and don't be intimidated. They're easy to take out, blend in with the background, or start over once they've dried. You can just put a little gesso on that and pretend it wasn't there at all. And but I sometimes just let it go. I decide that, hey, okay, so I've got 5 leaves instead of 3. I think it would look better with 3, but I'm okay with 5. I find with my painting, I sometimes just have to let things go, otherwise I'd be repainting everything. And I used to do that, and it took a lot of time until I learned to let things go. I tell myself the next painting will be better. I try not to go overboard with shadow. I try to think of which parts of the leaf will be in shadow and which will maybe catch a little light, maybe in full light. And then I paint accordingly, because light sometimes gets through places you wouldn't think it would. And you get a dappled effect, don't you? And I think that looks a little more realistic than painting everything light on the light side and everything dark on the dark side. Allow a little light to creep through in places and a little shadow here and there where you wouldn't expect it. And that's what gives your painting a more lively look. I'm using a Q-tip and a yellowish green colour to dot in the centres of the florets, and I don't dot in every one. I choose an odd number, 5 say, and just do 5 on each flower head. You don't want to overdo it with these things because they can take over the eye and all you see is dots. Just a few will do. It just finishes the flower a little bit and adds a little bit of something extra, another texture. Painting's all about texture and colour, isn't it? Getting as many of each in as you possibly can. Well, my painting's all about that. At this point, I think the flowers are finished, and it's the vase I need to work on. It hasn't quite got that shiny, silvery look that I want to achieve, and I think the background could do with a little more interest too. I would have to say that alizarin crimson is one of my favourite colours, and I think a little pink in the background does liven things up a little bit. I put it in the tabletop, and I also put it in the background, only I mix it with white to give me a pink and I find it livens things up no end. I thought I'd paint this corner a little darker and then decided I did not like it. And if the paint is still wet, you can scrub it out with paper towel or some kind of tissue, whatever, and it will still work. It might leave a little residue, but it won't matter. It will be part of the background. I added a little primary yellow to the leaves just to give it a little more depth of colour, a little more interest, a little more brightness. I thought I could use a few more white petals, not the complete floret, just the odd white petal to pick up a little light here and there to give the flower a roundness, which it didn't have before. The vase also needs some work. It's still not looking silvery enough. So I'm adding some brighter white. Well, it's titanium white. And just to give it that shine. Usually with a glass vase, I'll put in a reflected window. And sometimes I will do that on silver too. I didn't do that today. But the one thing you must always remember to do is put in that line of shadow underneath whatever it is, a glass vase, a copper vase, a silver vase, to set it on the table. Otherwise it's floating in midair. So you always need that cast shadow underneath the vase. I felt that the shadow side needed to be a little darker, and I'm using French ultramarine blue to put in a dark shadow. And you need those shadows to throw up the light, to contrast with the light side. It makes the light side seem more, luminous maybe. I took a photo and brightened it slightly in Paint Shop Pro. If you're making prints of your work for cards, posters, pictures, whatever, it's good to use a software to give you a little more pizzazz in a painting, because the final painting looked quite nice, but it wasn't as bright as it became once I processed it in Paint Shop Pro. And I will probably put this on Printify and put it on, canvas panel, water bottle, phone case cover, something like that, and sell it on my Etsy shop, CarolAnnsArt 123. And I'm very pleased with the way the painting turned out. I might put the painting itself up for sale on Etsy.com. And I hope you've enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. I might do hydrangeas in water mixable oils next time. I have to see how I feel. I don't always feel like painting in water mixable oils. Or the same picture over again, come to that. So anyway, thanks very much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe if you can. Helps my channel grow, and I appreciate your help in that. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.